Okay, all right. So starting our first practical run with us. All right. Part one, introduction and interview. First off here is welcome to your speaking exam. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good right now.
Great. Great. May I have your ID, please?
Yes, my ID.
Thank you. Can you confirm your name and address for me, please?
My name is Adipong and the address I can't remember.
It's okay. Just go with city.
Okay.
Yeah,
Bangkok,
you
Thailand.
live in Bangkok, Thailand. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and get started with part one now. We have, did your parents choose your name?
Yes, my parents choose my name called Golf for the
Golf.
nicknames, and for the full name is Adipong School. Yeah.
Cool. One comment here is that I'm also going to be more helpful, right? I'll be like nodding and showing you things and saying confirming ways that we speak. But remember that it's poker face for the examiner, right? Okay. Okay. All right. Good. How did your parents choose your names, the nickname as well as your given name?
Okay. For the nickname, during during that time when my mom was pregnant, my dad loved to play golf a lot, and like my grandmother suggests my father that's like myself could name golf because like you enjoy golf a lot. So my dad decided to use golf as my nickname, and for the full name, Adipat is come from like the combination of my real father name and my real mother names. His name is Adipong for and for my mother is Rapat, so it's combined Ati and Pat, so it's together with Atipat.
That was a good explanation of the Thai culture there. That was good. And that was a good extension and natural way to answer something, right? And you don't have to be limited to 1 to 3 sentences. Excellent. Right. Does your name have any special meaning?
For real name or nickname?
Up to you.
And for nicknames, as I say, because like my father enjoy a lot of playing golf, so it's quite special for me that my name is golf, so he will like enjoys me a lot.
Okay. All right. Good.
But
All right.
for Adipat, I'm not really sure about the meanings. I never asked. It's just I never asked my mom or my dad.
It would be good to ask them.
Okay.
No. Okay. Is your name common? Is your nickname common or unusual in your country?
I I do believe that my nickname is quite common in Thailand because, for example, I know some people might name bonds or relate to like sport. So as a result, I think it's quite common in Thailand. It's not like very strange name. Everyone will like feel okay with like my name.
Freaking smart kid. Oh my God, I love it. Okay, all right, good. You are a delight to teach, young man. If you if you want to practice more speaking after this, you contact me because I enjoy teaching you quite a bit. Okay, so we have here, if you could change your name, would you?
If I could share my name, absolutely not, because everyone know me as Golf, and if I change name, I have to tell everyone that I change name now. My name is, for example, like Nick, and I have to like deal with like this conflict. Maybe people call me Nick, maybe people call me Golf, so I'm lazy to like uh have like fight or discussion with my name. So just stay with Golf name is okay right now.
Excellent. And then I'll give you a word here. Please write down clarification. Clarification, right? Clarification is to make clear or an act of making it clear. Clarification. That was going to be the word that you'll use perfectly there. right? Where I don't want to, I don't want to give too much clarification about my name, so I don't want to deal with it, right? That was a great one. I like that a lot. Okay, let's see. I'm just looking at topic 3. Okay, it's not connected to names at all. Yeah, it's pretty common in Thailand for people to change names, right? Pretty common. This is something that in part 1 you could actually drop that, right? Where you say like, oh yeah, I absolutely not. You asked yourself the question. That was excellent too, right? The other thing that you could add to this would be like, yeah, in Thailand it's common for people to change their names, and then stop there, right? If they were talking about it in part 3, right, that's where you can extend on the topic.
Oh,
Okay, cool. All right, now in this one here, describe a cafe you enjoy or have been to. You should say where it is, how often you go there, when you usually go there, and why you like to visit this cafe. Right now, I'm not going to give you a minute to prepare. Generally, they give you 60 seconds to prepare. All right, but right now, just take some time to think about, okay, what's the cafe? Who did I go there with? What does it look like? Um, how does it feel inside? What's the vibe? Why do you think this is a good cafe? Right? Why was it a good memory? Why does it stick in your mind? Right? Um, Generally, if you think about the place and the people and the time, all the other details start to come. Right? So at this point, have you chosen a cafe?
yes,
Okay. Do you have people that you went there with?
yes.
Do you have a purpose?
Of
Purpose?
going there.
Yeah, like chilling, relaxing,
Alright.
eating. Yeah, like that. Okay. All
Yes.
right. Let me see here. And you're starting to think about what you like about it. And then right now you're starting to think about how you're going to end it. Okay. How you're going to finish this topic. For me, what would be a good way that I'd finish this topic? I would recommend this cafe to you, right? Or I would recommend this cafe to anyone, right? That would be one. Let's say another one. Oh, wait, I have to time out here. Time out, time out. Uh, Four options. Okay, so these 1, 2, 3 are pretty specific, and I use call to action, which is I would recommend this to anyone, right? Summary would be so in summary, I like this cafe because A, B, and C, right? Reference to the future is yes, I think I will go there today after the test, right? Call to action, gave you that example. And then this is the one that's a little bit more general and freestyle, right? You can pretty much do anything with it. Okay. All right, cool. All right. So we got optimal prep for this, right? Go ahead.
Okay. I have to say that I'm not a cafe person, but today I will talk about one cafe that I like the most. Okay. The my favorite cafe is called Fino Lattes. It's located in Khao Kos. Me and my family and also my friend frequently visit Khao Kos because I have a house there. So when we travel, we like to we want some stunning view. So and this cafe is a solution. When we went to Fino Latte Cafe, it's have like stunning view, a lot of mountain and like blue sky, and it's also have multiple menu. For example, like green tea, drink, coffee, mocha lattes, and also like bunch of cakes. And now they add like the menu such as fried chicken, spaghetti. So I think that when I go there, all thing is there. I don't have to like visit multiple or a lot of cafe. I can like end every activity in Fino Latte Cafe. Therefore, if you visit Khao Kho, I recommend you to visit Fino Latte cafe.
Exactly 90 seconds, which is a pan. Okay. Right.
Okay.
Very little hesitation in there. Okay. Very, very little hesitation. I'll give you a demonstration on how I answer these as a practical show as well. But you are integrating the tactics very well, young man. Okay. You're integrating the tactics. I would bet money right now that this delivery was a little bit better, maybe 15% better than your last one in the test. Yes?
Okay.
Yeah, I would bet $1 million probably. Okay, all right, good. That was excellent. And then also too, you remembered too that you didn't have to be restricted by this, right? Was that helpful too? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, very important. Yes, yes. You're using it as a guide, but not a restriction. Okay, a guide, but not a restriction. Okay, all right. This is the macro level discussion. You have like a couple of questions here, and I'll add a couple more. Okay. Okay. And then this is a time that you can ask them to repeat the question. This is a very important time to use that strategy. Okay. Because the questions are generally more words straight up. Okay. Like the word count in these questions here are usually less than 10. And then the word count in topic discussions tend to be like 5, 10, 15, sometimes even 20 words. Okay. Right. And then that's where you say, oh, could you please repeat the question? Okay, all right. And you want this to sound like nice, all right? Let's hear. What's the best way I can say this? Pardon, could you please repeat the question?
Pardon.
You try. Pardon, could you please repeat? Sorry. Pardon, could you please repeat the question?
Pardon. Could you repeat the question?
The question.
Question.
The. Just specific.
Pardon.
Yeah.
Pardon. Could you repeat the question?
Good. All right. Now try not to think about the part. Right. Try not to think about it. Right. Would you repeat the question?
Could you repeat the? Could you repeat the question?
Good. Okay. Close. 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 All right. All right. Here. What do old people like to eat?
In my head, I think it's depend on type of people. For like high society, family of people, old people like to visit some luxury restaurant in latest hotels or like the restaurant in like middle of the city. It's because it maybe they like to talk, have some conversation among the family with like great steak and some high-end foods such as like meat, Australian meat, Japanese food. But by contrast, for the lower class, old people might just want a local restaurant that they can save their finance to spend to the next day or saving for their next generation, like offspring or children. They just like eat in Thai, they maybe just eat kapao or just a noodle aside the road. So I think it depends on the class of people in Thailand.
Okay. All right. Now for this one, take about 5-10 seconds to think about your answer, right? And then organize it and think about planning all the way to the end, right?
Okay.
This answer was good. This answer was good, but you were freestyling still again. Right? Nothing wrong with that, bro. Okay, don't feel bad, right? This freestyle practice helps you for the real thing, right? So it's a good thing. Okay, it's a good thing, right? I'm always gonna be the kind of teacher that gives you direct feedback because I want you to do well, right? Okay. What do old people like to eat? I am verbally showing you my thought process. Okay, I'm verbally showing you my thought process. I think, okay, what do old people like to eat? I have a joke first. The joke first is going to be, it sounds like the old people you're talking about are my age, and the old people I'm thinking about are like 70 and 80. I feel old. You make me feel old. That's the first one. Okay. Now I'm thinking about a real answer. I'm thinking about the scientific or engineering aspect, so I'm thinking about texture, right? So I believe that old people like to eat food that's soft and it's not too spicy, a little bit bland because it's easier on their body. right? I do believe that old people love to enjoy food that they enjoyed all of their life. However, as people get older, they have to be more conscious of their health and choose what they eat a little bit more wisely. Clear? Right. So like I'm going through the thought process, I'm thinking about how I'm going to finish, and I'm trying to integrate it into my answer. And you see that I have like 20 years of practice doing this, right? Okay, cool. All right, here. How important is it for a country to be able to grow all the food it needs without importing any from other countries? Right. And then you say, pardon, could you please repeat the question?
Then could you repeat the question?
Perfect. How important is it for a country to be able to grow all the food it needs without importing any from other countries?
In my eyes, I think that Thailand is like primary sector, which means that they need to like produce a lot of like raw materials. So it is very very important for the Thailand to produce food such as like rice, because Thai people relies on rice a lot. Rice is the base food of Thai people, and also like many ingredients like vegetable or food, Thailand also like able to produce a lot compared to maybe another country. And
Okay, wait, time out here. Time out here. For me, I thought that that was a pretty good place to end, right? Like
right now,
I would have kept on going, you know.
okay,
It was slightly awkward there though at the end though, right? Because you were waiting from a signal from me to tell you to stop or keep going, right? Which is kind of a mistake. If the guy is poker faced and doesn't give a shit about you, right? Right? Like it's true though. I mean, hopefully they're a good person, right? And they care about you and they want you to succeed. But their job is to examine you and test you and grade you, right? So you don't need a signal from that other person, right? You don't need it. It's that you decide when you're going to finish and you decide when you're going to continue, right? And that's a very important factor. Take control of it, right? Take control of it because they're not going to give it to you, right? They aren't. Okay. I sometimes substituted for IELTS examiners over in Korea when I was working there, and I remember sitting there like trying very hard to be poker faced and like give these questions to students that were going for their official IELTS exam, and like it was really hard for me, and that's why I was only substituting, you know. I started helping them a little bit, you know, a little bit in some of my tests that I was doing, and it was good. It's just that I also knew that it probably wasn't fair. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Right. And so that's the thing, right? That's the thing that you have to really realize the situation walking into it. Okay. All right. Follow-up question here. Follow-up question here is that, you know, if you have a country that imports a lot of its food, what do you think are some pros and cons of that?
Okay, so for the country that import a lot of food, they may not able to like stand by their legs when it's that if sometimes like have the economic war, they cut the contracts between the country to country. Now this country is struggle because most of the important materials as food is import from the another country that is now stop providing your material. Now the people in the country might like struggling. What should I do? What should I eat? And this might be like time to practice people to like to use their own resource to make you can make your life continue, not rely on like another country.
And then you decided you're done, right?
Yes.
Okay, it's so much better. It's so much better. Yeah. And then I give you the funny face just to kind of like throw you off, you know? But like that's the whole idea, bro, right? Take control. It's okay. right? Good answer to the follow-up question. It was a little incomplete because I asked for pros and cons, but that's okay.
I
No,
forgot. Yeah.
no, it's okay, right? Because they don't generally ask pro and con questions in part 3 anyway, right? I made it a lot harder for you. Okay. All right, cool. Sounds good, dude. That was a good practical test for part 1 with feedback and with tips. Okay. All right, with feedback and the tips. The best way to practice for these things is that if you don't have someone to coach you or mentor you, then it's in the mirror or by recording. Okay, right. In the mirror is generally pretty good actually, and then you don't have to work with recording stuff. Um, the key points from this practice before I show you my style is going to be begin with an end in mind. You have flexibility in part 1, but it's all about you. Part 2 is that you're really, really focusing on the people and the places and the time to help you brainstorm well. After that, it's going to be creative writing, 5 senses, right? 5 senses. What can you see? What can you hear? What can you touch? What can you smell? What can you taste, right? It's generally almost every single topic you can at least use 3 out of 5, okay? And that was what was really good about your part 2 answer as well, okay? You only need about 90 seconds, right? You only need about 90 seconds, and it's good to have that internal timing in mind, right? Cool. And then last and most important is 2 parts, is that before you begin, take those few seconds to think about what you're going to say, right? And how you're going to end, right? What kind of key questions, what kind of details. And then at the end, it's that don't pay attention to that other fucker, okay? Right? It's that it's on you, man, right? It's on you to decide, I'm done here now, right? I'm done here now. If the answer was not enough, they will ask you another question, right? So that's their style, right? That's what they're trained to do. Okay. It's that, this answer is too short, so I need to ask a follow-up question. And then he's got like a giant list of them. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right, cool.
Is it
Go ahead.
okay to like, but like, what is the minimum like answer for like part 3?
Minimum answer, I would say, would be PEA.
PA, right?
Yeah, PEA. 3 sentences would be all right, but generally, if it's like 3 short sentences, they will probably ask for a little bit more detail. Sometimes move into the next question. It just depends, really. I mean, like, if somebody is going like this, did your parents choose your name? Then I say yes. And then he'll probably say like, why, or what is it, or what's your name, right? How did your parents choose your name? They chose it from a website. Then the examiner will be like, why did they choose it from a website, right? Does your name have any special meaning? Yes. Okay, what is it? All right, here, it's that if you speak for too short, right? They do have a timer in front of them, right? If it's just under 60 seconds, they'll probably signal you like this, right? Keep going, right? If it's a little less than 90 seconds, you got like about a 70-30 chance that they'll just let you go, right? And keep going. Or depending on your answer before, they might ask you for more development. Right? But then they just, it's just emotion. They don't really say much at all. Okay. All right. And then part 3, right? You asked what's the minimum answer? I would say that it's a developed answer that has a key point, evidence for that point, and then your analysis of it. All right, cool. All right, sounds good. Now let's go ahead and take a look over here. All right, and now you're choosing one for me, and I'm going to give you a practical run of how I would answer a test utilizing these strategies and maybe some of the keywords from today. Okay, all right, go ahead and pick one for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5.
1.
Going with 1. Number 1, okay. Let's see here. I like keeping it random, right? Because it's not the prompts that we're trying to remember, it's the skills, right? It's not the prompts that we're trying to memorize, it's the skills. Okay. All right. So you are the examiner now. Okay. All right. Hold on one second. My baby's crying.
Okay.
It's funny. One of my babies is like really sweet, and one of my other babies is very sabai, but sometimes he gets really angry. It's funny. They're so different. Yeah. Okay. All right. You are the examiner, and I am the examinee.
Okay. Moving on to foods. Let's talk about food. So, what kind of food do you like?
I love many different kinds of foods, and I am very picky sometimes. The kinds of foods I like are fried foods, pasta, Italian, Korean, Japanese, anything that is very well prepared, fresh, and nutritious.
Okay. What are typical food in your country?
Well, that's an interesting question because my country is technically America, but I'm living in Thailand and my wife is Thai and I have two Thai Korean babies. Therefore, I will choose Thailand as for this question. Typical foods here would be foods that you can make in a wok, saute and fry. It definitely has a lot of chili and limes and spices. Many Thais say that food here is very flavorful, and then when they go abroad, they say that the food is very bland.
Okay. Is cooking a man or woman job?
I do not like this question. I think that nowadays it's a multi-sex job, right? Or it's a gender neutral role, right? And as a gender neutral role, just look at the analysis of all the chefs and the greatest chefs in the world. They're men and women. So I think that it's both.
How do you like foreign food?
Well, I have traveled to almost 40 countries now in my life, maybe like 36 or 37, something like that. And so I've tried many foreign foods. If it's good, I like it. If it's too weird or it's a flavor that I'm not really used to, or the texture is not good or too chewy, it's not really my style. But I do enjoy foreign food. Okay, all right.
Uh,
Now let's see here. No brainstorming at all. Okay, no brainstorming
Okay.
at all. I'm gonna go fresh into this. You're just gonna read this, and then I'm gonna go into it. I'll explain my brainstorming at the end. Okay.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Describe a well-paid job you would like to do, or you will be good at, in the future.
Okay, all right. You're the examiner, so I need it to be very smooth when you read it.
Okay. Again, right?
Yes.
Describe a well-paid job you would like to do, or you will or you will be good at in the future.
No problem. Pan. Okay, all right. No prep, no brainstorming. I'm going in. This is an easy question for me because I have thought about it a great deal. I think that a well-paid job for me in the future would be a systems architect, actually. It would be a different life. They have said before that a cat has 9 lives. And if I had 9 lives, there would be a few different professions that I would choose. One of them would be IT. The other would be military and like 7 other options. But for this case, I'm looking into what an architect is. And I think that an architect is a kind of person that is able to envision macro level systems of really intricate pieces all working together. I believe that they are definitely and always outside the box thinkers because that's what an architect has to do. They have to look at everything and see how all the pieces work together. The qualifications for this job, I believe, are excellent problem solving skills. University degrees are important, but I've also heard of IT guys working as architects who never went to university at all. Um, so qualifications for me would be skills, actually. It would be the way that you can analyze a problem and solve a problem that may not have an answer right now. In school, people learn how to solve problems that already have answers, and it's supposed to be training for solving the problems that don't have solutions yet. And people forget that sometimes. I believe that this job is different from others because and it requires logic and rationale in order to see case A, case B, impact A, and impact C in order to how all of them function together. I think I would be good at it because that's the kind of person I am. I really enjoy it. I like seeing how big systems work And that's why I think I would be a good systems architect. Okay. All right. Moving straight into topic discussion now. All right. And then you just ask me these 3 questions.
What kind of job are poorly paid in your country?
This is another topic I could talk a lot about. This is not fair. Oh, this is not fair. The prompt should be harder. Okay. All right. Subway attendants. Subway attendants here make 325 baht a day, which is basically about $11. And that's almost 10 hours of work. So it's a little over 30 baht an hour. And that is an incredibly poorly paid job in this country of Thailand.
Do people who have different level of income feel happy about how much they earn?
Pardon, could you please repeat the question?
Do people who have different level of income feel happy about how much they earn?
That's an interesting question. I think that this question is incomplete and maybe incorrectly written. I think what you're asking here is that, do people who have more money feel happier than people who have less money? Or are people who are poor sadder than people who are rich? And if you ask me that question, I would say that generally people with more money have fewer problems to worry about. And then I would say also too, on the other hand, on the flip side of the coin, people who don't make as much money have simpler lives sometimes. And so when simpler lives are less complex, it's a easier way to live. And so I think this is a very complicated question with no real true answer.
Do you think it is good to change job frequently?
I would say frequently, yes, but not too frequently. Because changing jobs too frequently means that you have to put that on your CV and you put your dates of working there. And the people, whoever is interviewing, they will see that this guy changes jobs a lot. And so I think frequently would be like about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And that's where you can always cycle up your income and your salary by negotiation and gaining new skills from each new working environment. And so, yeah, about a change, maybe every year and a half, 2 years or so. Okay, all right, done, set it out. That was about 11 minutes, all right, 11 minutes here. So first off here, what did you observe about my answers?
It's like natural.
Okay, good. Give me 3 points.
Natural, like well explained.
Well explained. Okay, good. All right, that was good.
And also kind of, what to say, it's also like contain like examples.
Key and relevant examples, I would
Yeah.
say. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, sounds good. Those are good observations. So yeah, I mean, like I was just using the strategies, right? So it's that you were asking me the question. I had the advantage because I saw the question first. And so I was already thinking about it when you asked me the question, right? So that was kind of an unfair advantage, right? So generally they don't show you these first questions. Okay, so that's why, pardon, could you please repeat the question once or twice in your speaking exam is actually helpful, right? Cool. You saw me use it. You saw me use it because I thought about if I heard the part 3 question here, do people who have different levels of income feel happy about how much they earn? I realized that with my level of English, it's a weird question, right? Because look at it, who have different levels of income. This part should be have different levels of happiness.
Yeah.
Right? And that would be a correct question, right? And that's why I asked them to repeat. I'm sorry, could you please repeat the question? Why did I ask them to repeat? The examiner sometimes will know that they speak too quickly or they're tired or they've mumbled their words, okay? And so they will repeat it again slowly and clearly, okay? The second thing is that they are working from a document that somebody wrote for them, and maybe it's not perfect, right? Maybe it's not perfect. And so giving the examiner a chance to think about the question and then ask you again may clear up some of the confusing parts. Maybe. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Now, the last one here. Do you think it's good to change jobs frequently? One thing I want to point out that I didn't mention before is that I'm always thinking A/B, right? I'm always thinking A/B almost all the time for everything, right? And then you always want to try to explain both parts in a balanced way, right? And that's always something that has definitely always helped me build all of these answers because it's all about comparison, right? Here, A/B was food. I was talking about food I like, and I was talking about food I didn't like, right? Typical foods in my country. I had to choose, right? Because which one's my country, right? A/B again, A/B, right? Cooking a man's job or a woman's job, A/B, and then combine, right? Here, how do you like foreign food? I talked about experience. I didn't really go A/B, but it was still, yeah, it was stuff that I liked, and it was stuff that I didn't like. Real simple, right? With this here, I think the pointer on this one is going to be that this was an unfair question and I should do something that was a lot harder or unfamiliar, just to demonstrate some of the skills a little better. But it's that you're taking time to understand that if you didn't think about this before the test, then answering it in the test will be difficult.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. And then you saw that I have thought about this quite a bit and with pretty much every student that I've worked with. And so that's why it's easier for me to answer something like this. Okay, cool. The other part was I was going through my flow and then I was going back to the card when I needed some guidance, right? And I was looking at the keyword, right? So the keyword was going to be, hold on, let me annotate. When I looked at the prompt, it was there. I was looking at job, qualifications, requirements, differences, and then good at this job, right? And my brain kind of just filtered the rest of it out, right? And I was just looking at the keywords. So this is something that you can do inside of your prep where you're like, okay, this is the thing that I'm talking about. And then if I get lost a little bit while I'm talking, I'm looking here, and then I'm using that as a guide, right? And then you start with the keyword, right? And then if you don't know how to go from there, then you say, what kind of qualifications would be good for a systems analyst, or a systems architect? And then hopefully your brain starts to give you something, because in a lot of ways, I think your brain is faster than mine, dude, right? I really do. I really do. I may have a lot of knowledge and experience because I'm over double your age, right? Okay. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. If you and I both hit something we both didn't know, I think that you would still operate faster because of age and where you're at and possibly intelligence. Okay. All right, cool. All right. Closing this here. Bum, bum. Okay. So now we have A/B pretty much, the conclusions, and then strong point again, just knowing where I was going to finish. Clear? Okay,
Yes.
excellent, excellent. Okay, all right, good. I am going to stop the recording and then let's take a nice break.